from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is June 16th, 2020.
Day 422 of the oppression known as a Civ, whatever.
Whatever it is. Yes, it is. It is. And guess who's back in the studio? At least for this week. And
Good morning, Mr. Platt.
Jay and I were just talking. Peter, I bought a ring light to make me look a little bit less pale.
You finally got some proper deal there.
Yeah.
Proper illumination.
Yeah.
Well, today is we're probably going to lose our internet in about 2 seconds.
Oh my!
So that means we'll be going to channel 15 because that's a direct connection to Comcast, but everything else might go out.
So does that mean that the streaming isn't going to work?
Well, only for about 20 minutes.
Better say goodbye to Wisconsin.
The Genie's doing a software upgrade, so they're going to put us out of internet for about 20 minutes, allegedly. They may have done it earlier in the evening, overnight.
Sure.
But that was the scheduled time that I got from the technology center, and I'll go by that.
So if people are watching, they're okay. If they're listening, then may not go out. But you can always archive it later or go to the archives.
Absolutely.
At
Jay,
YouTube.
What microphone number are you on? 1?
Who am I? Me?
No, Jay. I got you because I know where you.
I'm on this one.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Oh, there we are. So at any
I had
rate,
3 microphones turned up, and I didn't know which was which.
It was, and of course, the wrong one was.
No, I had you on the right one.
Oh,
I just
okay.
wanted to turn off the other 2 because we don't need.
We don't need extra noise.
Correct.
So I've come prepared. I have my handy wipes that I carry everywhere when I leave my house. I've left my house only to walk the dog in the last 3 weeks. Ugh.
3 months.
No. Well, I've gone to the store because, but James is doing the store watch now. So basically, I send him to the store and I just read another book or something,
I almost didn't come in this morning.
Yeah. Why was that?
Yeah, you were late.
But then I remember. Yeah, for me, I was very late.
Absolutely.
But then I remembered Bob is coming in. And when Bob comes in, he brings coffee.
I see.
Bob,
yes.
I have missed my coffee over the last few Tuesdays.
I love that.
And it is good to have you here. It's good to see you here. You're right. Your hair is getting very curly.
Well, look, I'm just going to show you. See the sides of it.
You,
all right,
you
notice?
can go out and get it cut now, right?
No, I'm not getting it cut.
Well,
I'm not going to the barber yet. Yet.
You're gonna grow it long.
It's falling out so damn fast.
Oh, stop!
I'm telling you. I'm gonna look like what's that quarterback from he does sports on television on the sports network or something. Terry
Bradshaw.
Terry
Yeah.
Bradshaw. I'm gonna
No,
look.
you're not. Terry Bradshaw's bald and won't recognize the fact that he's bald.
Yeah.
Well, that's me practically. I mean,
No,
I don't
not
want to
even close.
recognize it.
What happens when
Not
your
even
hair
close,
grows
Bob.
long is there's more weight now to that thing of hair, that strand of hair.
Yes.
So there's more weight, and it stresses your follicle more. So it's more likely to come out because of the weight of the hair.
Bob, if you want a buzz cut, I can let you borrow my shaver. You'd be done.
No,
in 20,
I bought one
20
at the
minutes.
at the beginning of the virus. I have all of that.
So
I
buzz
think-
yourself. You give yourself a nice short haircut
let's
for
do
summer.
it on television. Oh, come on.
I bet you could get Bajia to come in with a face mask and gown and stuff. And
we
buzz
could
you.
do it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Well, you know what? Though I'm kind of like not liking it where it is right now, but I've been watching on television the number of people who in movies who are like James Marsden on Dead to You has this beautiful hair that goes over his ears, and I think it's sort of like the Thomas Jefferson look, that it's sort of like a wig,
Back into a bun.
a bun.
Yes.
I think there's a bun back there. I'm not
It's
sure.
a man bun.
But I never had a man bun because I let it curl, and when it curls, I'm curly all over.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch that. No.
I didn't say squirrely all
No,
over.
no.
I said curly.
But the whole thing with hair, and I got mine cut as soon as the things were open, but I found my old high school yearbook picture. And I had hair almost down to my shoulders, and that's what I looked like. And gray hair down to your shoulders doesn't look as good as.
No.
Not that I looked good in high school.
No,
I
no.
mean,
There-
typical
no.
70s hippie, but
Yeah. I wondered about that because when I don't wash it, which is sometimes every other day, that doesn't make any sense.
Sometimes every other day.
It just sort of sits there, and it is out to the side like 4 or 5 inches.
I've noticed that, Bob, that my hair grows, the sides grow far more than the top.
Oh my God!
So I trim the sides way more often than I do the top.
Now I know where my daughter gets it from. When it rains or it's humid or something, her hair goes like. Out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what was happening to mine.
There's nothing that can be done with that, and I try to put it down. And so you'll see me walking on the street with the dog when I walk the dog, which is every day.
With your hoodie up.
Sometimes with my hoodie up. And I look like Little Red Riding Hood on her way to Grandma's with the dog. I'm telling you. Look, it even has that little gnome thing on the top that sort of, look.
Oh, for cripe's sake.
Yeah, look at that.
It's a roaming gnome.
Yeah. Honest to God, and I look like I have. My cousin brought me this new mask, and
I ordered some more from the Chinese because it looks like this mask thing is going to be a long-term deal.
Oh,
yeah, I think so.
For cripe's sakes.
Yeah.
Mine wore out after 3 months.
Until they have a vaccine for this, and a proven vaccine that makes it go away and it doesn't come back.
It's never going to go away.
It's people are not going to feel comfortable coming out. And I've been saying this.
I don't know. Don't tell that to the people in the north end of Boston because they're coming out in droves because the restaurants are open again.
Well, now
very unsafely.
Not very unsafely,
I do
Bob.
like that.
No,
They're doing it with a 6-foot distancing, unless you want to be a Karen.
No, have you seen the radio and the television shows of the folks in Greenwich Village? There, Cuomo's going to come down and beat him with a stick. I'm telling you.
You know what, Bob? I'm
no.
sick of the Karens. People are willing to take acceptable risks. They are. And
Yeah.
they go in there knowing exactly what the rules are. And if they choose to take the risk, that is their choice.
Well, all right. Well,
We're all adults, right, Bob? We're not children.
No.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
We
go ahead.
If you want to take an acceptable risk.
we want to be able to host events again. The industry, the event industry, the music industry, the
That's going to completely go out of
having
business.
a room full of people or a field full of people. We want to do this again, and until the threat is lessened to at least close to zero,
Right.
until people feel safe coming out. I mean, I can watch television and they can go, okay, it's safe, go out. Well, until people as a whole feel safe going out, we're not going to be able to have a profitable event. And I don't just say me. I mean, the industry is not going to do this if they can't. If they're
The
gonna
major
lose money.
the major concert industry is just about on the verge of collapse. Complete
already
collapse.
did
I've read
that.
more than one article about it in NAB. I've read articles about it in on Variety and all the major trade publications for the music industry, saying that the concert and venue business is on the literally it's here now on the verge of collapse. Venues are going to go out of business and never come back.
No, we knew that a couple of months ago. We were already predicting that there's going to be organizations,
But they were
that
talking 80-90%.
are not going to exist anymore, and that's a
Yes.
shame.
Yep.
Now, when concerts come back, and they will at somehow, it's not going to be the same as it was. You're not going to be able to go to the Glastonbury Festival in England, where
Or
literally
Coachella in America.
literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people crammed together on 4 football fields.
But you know what? That's not true because I've been reading about Europe, and they're talking about even before a vaccine, they might start some of this back up. So it's only this country that's reacting the way it is.
May I also tell you that this country has more cases of the virus, that 24 states now are seeing a spike in the virus.
Because we're
that
also
they have-
testing more than any other country on the face of the earth.
And as our president so wisely said yesterday, well, if we weren't testing, then we would be, the numbers would look much better, and we would be in a better place because
Because we'd have herd immunity.
we wouldn't we're not going to kill people in order to have herd immunity.
Bob.
That's not in our nature.
Bob, you know what?
I can't argue with this.
There's
I'm sorry.
acceptable risk and there's not acceptable risk.
All right, then you
A lot
go.
of people
You
die
go.
from the. I will. A lot of people die from the flu every year. We're not going to defeat Mother Nature, Bob. It's impossible.
No, we're not going to defeat it, but I can safely guard against it. And they're telling
You can take necessary precautions for you, Bob.
For me, as a 60-year-old, it is, or a 75-year-old, I might say, but they're saying over 60 that you really ought to watch it.
Right. I get it.
Yeah.
I completely get it for you, but that's what
Well,
I'm saying is the government is taking away choice for everybody. In the meantime, they've killed our economy.
Did you?
And you have to have a balance there, Bob.
I don't think you have to. No. Here we go again with the argument, Jay, at the beginning of the show.
But it's not an argument, Bob. It's.
Yeah, we are. We're totally on the other side of this.
But you consider everybody a children because they can't make their own choices.
I don't consider that. I think there's great freedom in wearing a mask.
That's fine with that. I have no problem wearing a mask in public.
No, but the culture has to change, and the culture will not change until we require people to wear masks.
Government cannot legislate your life because you will get a revolt. That will start a civil war.
Well, I don't know. The other way around, the way it's working is there might be a civil war despite what our great president says. Given his remarks and everything and the way he is treating, and especially this. Oh God! Now you got me on.
I don't listen to him anymore. I don't watch the news anymore because you know what?
Okay, so if
it's
you don't watch
overhyped and sensationalized.
Yeah, no. If you don't,
and it's designed to scare you.
You gotta watch the news in
No.
order to know the truth.
I read online articles because you know what? Instead of getting a 20-second soundbite, I read an article for 3 or 4 minutes and get a lot more information. I've gone back to reading papers.
Okay, but so I think that if you read the right papers and the right,
I read all of the papers, Bob, so I
Okay.
get both perspectives.
All right. Okay.
And somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Okay. No, somewhere
Yes.
in there is the truth out there, and the truth is showing with the statistics. And for our president, his president, their president, to say what he did yesterday. It's all about looking good and
Bob,
looking good to America.
Do you know
and,
the statistics lie too? Because I know people in hospitals where people have died of heart attacks,
yeah,
and label as COVID death. Died of heart attacks, Bob.
Yes,
They have previous heart conditions and die of heart attacks, and they're getting. Here's why, because all the hospitals lost millions and billions of dollars because they stopped all the elective surgeries because they were told to, and the only way they could recoup some of those losses by labeling the deaths COVIDs. They got paid more money in reimbursement from Medicare, Medicaid, and the insurance companies if they label the deaths COVID. That is the truth. I've had firsthand accounts that has happened.
On the other side of the break,
we're going to take.
I'm just saying there's a lot
about anything other than COVID-19.
No, I think we should be
Bob
having
Plass,
these discussions.
That's Pete Coles on the other side of
Jay.
the board. I'm JPEG Luca, and we'll be back right after this.
No, I'm not taking a break
Yeah.
because I don't know what music to play.
Oh, well, you can play Dream a Little Dream of Me by Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong.
We can do a harmonize. We can harmonize.
You know Dream a Little Dream of Me?
No, but it's
Stars shining bright above you. Oh, God help me. No, I just, to just put a cap on this, I think it inflames all of us in one way or another. And the thing that I think that inflames me is I just fear for myself and fear for other people. And that's what inflames me. And I don't want anyone to die, period. And well,
Bob, that's unrealistic.
No, I know that. But you don't want me to die. I don't want you to die. I don't want anyone to die. And whether it's unrealistic or not, we're all going to die, but I don't want to die from COVID.
Today.
I don't want to die today. And I want to do everything in my power to not die today. And that's the truth.
And I agree with you on that, Bob.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you on that. But what I'm saying is the government is telling everybody that nobody can do anything, right? And that's not right. It should be, like other governments are doing, a personal choice of whether you want an acceptable risk. Because we are all adults.
On the other side of the break.
And if you want to be, more people are catching COVID allegedly by protesting than by sheltering in place.
Let's not go there. That's the right reason to take a risk, is to change the culture. So Black Lives Matter, and there we are.
I agree with that.
Well,
I agree with that
you
too.
never know it.
I agree with that. No, Bob, you don't understand. I do agree with that because I do agree that in good portions of this country, right, that a black person has a tougher time than a white person.
We're not going to go into that now.
But I agree with you, Bob.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you.
All right.
Where did Dream a Little Dream come from?
Yeah, Dream a Little Dream is actually in celebration of Juneteenth, which is this week, which is the day that America the day that America became free because of the 13th Amendment. And I recommend everybody to watch the documentary 13th, which will really tell you about this situation.
Where's that running now?
It's on Netflix, I think.
Okay.
And 13th is really about the 13th Amendment and how it says they had a catch-all, Jay. It's really strange. They had a catch-all that said everybody can be free except those in prison. So then that was really the beginning. For a short time after the Civil War, freed slaves were treated really well. There were lots of them in the Congress. They were really lots. But then the South suddenly realized that by making it illegal, or they could put black people in prison where they wouldn't be free. And that really went on, and this documentary traces it, and it's won all kinds of awards everywhere. Traces it until Johnson, believe it or not, in the 1960s, passes the Civil Rights Bill. And then crack comes in, or drugs come in, and we change the drug laws, and which keeps, again, that situation with the police, et cetera, et cetera. It's a really interesting documentary, and I really and it's telling the truth basically, and it is not done by any kind of partisan thing. It's telling the truth. The Constitution, because it says in the 13th Amendment that if you are in prison, you cannot participate in the governing of America. That's where it all started. And so we have to celebrate June 19th, which is called Juneteenth. And so I thought I'd play some great black music today, along with some other stuff. But Dream a Little Dream of Me is just so sweet with Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald. Incredible. Where would we be without the black community making great music? And
from a music perspective, I love Louis Armstrong.
Yeah. Oh, wait till you hear this.
You can never see or listen to Louis Armstrong without putting a smile on your face. Doesn't matter what he sings. It puts a smile on your face or brings a tear to your eye. It's just his style.
Oh my God! Yes,
it's just his style.
So we can all dream, and Peter, I hear you. I still think we need to do more dialogue. We'll continue to do our dialogue.
That's fine, Bob. I have no problem disagreeing with you. And like we've said through the years now, we agree on a lot too.
Yes, we agree, and we have to remember where we agree, and we have to find out where we disagree, and we have to listen with open ears in order to understand where the other person is coming from.
I always do.
No, okay.
I always do, Bob. You know that because you've
on the
swayed.
Other side of the break.
Wait a minute, hold on. I just want to say this. You've swayed me on more than one occasion, Bob.
Oh well, okay. I got to sway you some more
if
here.
If we wait for the two of you to get the last word, we're going to be here till noon.
All right, I'll start the music.
Yeah, right. Here's Dream a Little Dream of Me.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty-night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me.
Stars fading, but I linger on, dear.
Oh, how you linger on.
Still craving your kiss.
How you crave my kiss.
Now I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this.
Give me a little kiss, sweet dreams, till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
Buzz, 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 stars fading, but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. Yeah, I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams, dreaming
till sunbeams find you. Keep dreaming.
Gotta keep dreaming.
Leave the worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, you've gotta make me a promise. Promise to me.
Support for the community programming radio of WSKB. On WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
You forgot what it's like to be in studio, didn't you, Bob?
I love being in the studio. But I also like sleeping until 5:30 and then just rolling out of bed and turning on my light, and there we all are in full glory.
Now that you're telling us that you just roll out of bed and turn on the light, maybe you don't want to turn on the light.
What do you mean? Oh,
if you're just rolling out of bed, maybe you don't want to put on the ring light there, Bob.
Oh, my ring. Oh, God. My ring light is not working well. I'm sending it back, and I'm getting another one. I'm going to get another one because...
Is it LED or is it fluorescent?
It's an LED one.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, but it doesn't... I can't put the prongs in the thing. It doesn't work.
Excuse me.
Yeah, this end doesn't go into that end. If you'll pardon
That's
the
even
expression.
worse.
You got a ring, and I'm thinking, you got one of those little doorbells that lights up, and they can see me when I'm coming. Which
No. You go online and you you ask for a ring light for a computer, and they actually many of them are for when you are on your cell phone, and this one is designed for a cell phone. That's why I really want just to plug it in the wall, and then the light comes on. This you have to plug into your cell phone, and it doesn't, and somehow or other the prongs don't.
It's a little one.
No, this thing is like 24 feet off the ground. 24 inches. Inches.
24 feet, Bob. Whoa, look out.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. That would cost me a hell of a lot more money than what I...
That's one of Jay's lights at that point.
Yeah. Oh, my God, I'm telling you. Hey, speaking of Jay, I read an article that was in last week's paper.
Reading the police report?
Yeah, always. There you are. And there was a picture and everything.
Really?
No, that wasn't. That was on the police blotter. Yeah. So it was the article about the drive-in movies where Westfield on Weekends and the Boys and Girls Club are with this in association with Gaslight Entertainment and the city of Westfield are producing this drive-in. Where'd you get this idea? Did you get this idea from me?
Just an idea that we wanted to do a drive-in something, whether it be a movie or a concert or something.
Yeah.
And got to talking with Bill Parks.
Yeah.
And I says, a drive-in movie would be fun, especially a family drive-in movie. And who better to partner with than the Boys and Girls Club?
Oh, yeah.
With the idea. Well, he and Bo Sullivan just ran with it.
Yes.
And, of course, everybody that works over at the Boys and Girls Club thought this was a great idea. And they're going to, they got sponsors to help cover the cost of this thing.
Including Westfield on Weekends, I might add.
That's right.
Yeah, we're the, but
and,
I guess
Gaslight's just kind of a technical advisor, if you will. But we helped do the logistics of
Look,
putting
you came up with the idea.
You're
You're more than a technical advisor. You are the founder. I should have named it.
A founder.
JPEG Lucas Drive-In.
No.
Yeah. Did you go to the drive? I think we.
When we were a kid, did we go to the drive-in? Oh, it was
every
fall.
weekend.
No,
it was a special thing.
It was a special thing we did a few times every summer as a kid. Now we had 4 kids in a station wagon, so I'm sure Mom and Dad didn't think it was a great time.
Oh yeah.
Of course, we were perfect angels all the time.
Did you spend most of the time not watching the movie and fighting with your brother?
There was a movie.
Yeah. Oh no. Because didn't they have like rides and things that kids could do? Or
the one we went to had swing sets and one of those spinny round get sick things you under the screen. So that
Under the
Oh yeah,
screen.
under the base of the screen.
So the
we
parents
would
could
all
watch
go-
the movie and their kids at the same
No.
time.
When the movie started, you had to go back to the car.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all I remember was the soda, the candy, the popcorn, and the swings.
I remember the smell of the snack bar
Yeah.
and those little commercials that
Commercials and the dancing hot dogs.
dancing hot dogs.
I told Bo I want to find one of those, and we're going to run that. So
We could get a dancing hot dog. We could get a dancing popcorn. I could call the dancing troupe, and we could get costumes for the hot dog, the popcorn, and what's the other thing? The Coca-Cola, and they could all dance together.
I was just telling somebody that sometimes I got to learn to just shut up. That was one of the.
That's a
times.
great idea, though, isn't it? We could, Kim Starziak.
Which one do you want to dress up in? You want to be the dancing hot dog, Bob?
I've always wanted to be known as a hot dog. Oh! Yeah. No.
But that's happening anyway. This Saturday night.
Yeah.
Behind the Boys and Girls Club, and the movie is going to be
The Secret Life of Pets, Volume 2.
Yeah. So actually, that sounds good because I saw the first one and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So the second one's got to be. I always wondered what my cats did when I wasn't around. I saw the mess they made.
Yeah, Secret Lights of Pets. Okay, watch. Jessica has entered the studio. Jessica Martin. She's going to sit over there. We're going to play a song, and then she'll come over and we'll set up safely
so that you can sit socially distanced.
Yeah. She's going to sit.
Good morning, Jessica.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be talking to her right after.
So Secret Life of Pets.
Oh,
we got
this Saturday. Go to the Boys and Girls Club website.
You need reservations,
Yes.
incidentally. You just
Yes,
can't
you
go.
cannot go. Even they announced at the school committee. Bo Sullivan invited all the school committee members, but he said, "You better call today because reservations are going really fast."
We're going to limit it to 200 cars, so we really don't want to get overwhelmed back there.
Oh no!
And this is the first time we're doing this, a socially distanced. And imagine a parking lot with a car in every other space.
Yeah.
So then the space to the driver's side of the car is your space if you
Right.
want to get out of the car and watch. And you'll be able to listen to it on your car stereo, or there'll be a little PA up in front of the speakers, in front of the screen too. So this is going to work. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It's going to be a lot of
The movie starts at dusk. The grounds open probably around 7:30, I think.
7:30, 8 o'clock, roughly.
South Broad Street is the entrance to the Boys and Girls Club. So we thank you guys, the Boys and Girls Club. I thank the board of Westfield on Weekends for participating, and JPEG Luca and the City of Westfield, the Health Department, the Police Department, the Public Works Department, the Community Development Department.
Everybody's pitching in.
The mayor's office, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So, hey, everybody, we're going to take a break. All right. So I was talking about Juneteenth, and I wanted to play one of the most incredible performers ever in music. And someone who really has a tragic story in a way because she became mentally ill. Her name is Nina Simone. Do you remember Nina Simone? The song that everybody will know Nina Simone for, I'm not going to play, but it's Birds Flying High, you know what I mean. Sun in the sky, you know what I mean. It's on commercials. You'll see it all the time. It was from a Broadway show, but she made it into about what freedom is mine. It was about freedom. A lot of her songs, she became this huge activist for the black movement. But in her, when you watch her on stage, she was probably bipolar. And when she was having one of her manic or depressed fits, she could be really, incredible. I would Google Nina Simone and watch some of her live performances. There's a great documentary on her life, and also there is a movie version of her life that you can find. Nina Simone, but this is the Animals. Remember the Animals? Not me and you. Remember the Animals?
Yes, I remember the band The Animals.
rock and
They
roll.
covered this song and they quite successfully.
Eric Burden.
Well, yeah, and in reality, the song came from the Animals, and what Nina did was she took the song from the Animals and made it into an activist song. You know, don't let me be misunderstood. And you know what? That's what we need to do when we have conversations. We have to actively listen. We have to listen to what the other guy says, repeat what the other guy says, and make sure we're both on the same page and listen to the other guy much more than we talk. And it's hard for talkers like Pete and I to sometimes listen to one another. But when we get there, we listen to one another. But this is Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. I urge you to watch Nina Simone on YouTube. Nina Simone, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood.
We're doing the requests now. We're doing the things that we think will please you the most, at least for the next 4 minutes. As you know, the Animals had a hit with this tune. Baby, you understand me now. If sometimes you see that I'm mad, no one can always be an angel. When everything goes wrong, you see some bad. I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. Don't let me be misunderstood. Don't let me be misunderstood. 'Cause if I misunderstood, all my life would have been in vain. And Lord knows I don't want to come here again. So don't let me be misunderstood. Give me a clear mind. Give me the words to say what I mean.
Radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield
Underwriting
Electroplating,
for
putting the finishing
WSKB's
touches
community
on
radio
technology.
programming is brought to you in part by R. Levesque Associates. They are offering landscape architecture, civil engineering, environmental permitting, and land surveying. RLA is a second-generation company devoted to excellence in the planning and design of outdoor spaces. On the web at rlaland.com or at 40 School Street in Westfield.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass and Jessica Martin, the diva of real estate, books, and bees.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday and it is June 16th. 2020. My name is Bob Plass. I have been talking to JPEG Luca, who's gone off to work. There, he's going to get into the shot. He's waving. There, he's going back to work. Right, he stepped into his 1947 Buick and he's off. There he goes. Bye,
he's one of
Jay.
those guys that can work from anywhere.
That's exactly right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Here he comes again. He's
now he's working from here.
Yeah.
Now he's working from there.
Yeah. For those who are listening on the radio, he keeps coming into the shot. And
they can hear him rolling across the floor.
Hey, we got a great replacement for Jay. The book bee and realty diva herself, who we are going to miss Sean today, but you're here in the studio. Is Sean going to miss us?
Sean is missing us from Atlanta, Georgia today. Sean is missing us. He actually
Sean,
traveled. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's not only not in the studio, he's not in our house either.
Not even in the state. And he's down there in Atlanta.
Yes.
What's he doing there? Is he
so working because
what? I don't
turns
understand.
out Georgia is not shut down. So they opened things up significantly sooner than we even considered doing so up north. And Sean is a world traveler and has a lot of friends all over the world. So he had a friend who has a tattoo shop down there that opened up and is incredibly busy, even with the new rules. So they need a hand. Yeah, and they said, hey, we know your state's shut down, so why don't you come down here and give us a hand, make some money? And he was more than happy to oblige, yes.
So he's down there doing tattoos.
Yes.
I wonder if people are doing, is there a significant tattoo that would be like, I survived COVID?
No, I haven't heard any of that yet. He is telling me that people are still getting the same old same when it comes to walking in to get a tattoo, but they're getting them. He did one day last week, he did 8 tattoos in a day, which is an insane amount of tattoos. So that's a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's like a dentist in a way, right?
Yeah.
If you really think when the tattoo artist is like
as
or
far
a barber.
as the cross-contamination and sterilization and all that stuff goes, yes, that's how the tools are treated. They have to wear gloves, and with the new mask rules, they're wearing. He sends me pictures that are crazy. Like, so he's got gloves on and the mask and his eyeglasses and the bandana.
So
he's fully geared up. But yeah, the fact that people are willing to jump right back into what we call now personal services. And up here, like you and I, we haven't even had our hair done, but in Georgia, people are getting tattoos. So
yeah. Speaking of your hair, it's gorgeous. Hey, I'm giving a big wave to JPEG Luca. We'll see you on Saturday night. Talk to Kenny about. I made a great tape for Westfield End Weekends that hopefully will be shown on Saturday evening. So. Yeah, at the drive-in movies. You want to go to the drive-in with me?
I would love to go to the drive-in with you. Yes.
No, that sounds a hell of a lot. There's an innuendo there that I don't mean there to be there. The two of us would be sitting there. We get to see the movie, wouldn't we?
Still have to social distance. Yes, and it would be a drive-in where the movie got watched. So I hope something good is playing.
Oh, it's The Secret Life of Pets.
Oh, fun.
Volume 2, or the son of Secret Life of Pets.
Okay.
Yeah. And it plans to be a really good show. Hey, I wanted to mention something as well, that there's lots happening artistically in Westfield. If you go to Taylor Street and Hedges Street and, what's the other street? Oh, geez, I wrote it down. Hedges and Dennis Street. It's right there where you can enter the bike trail. Artworks is doing a mural on the wall there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we love to go down and see that. It's right around the corner from me. When I walk the dog, I got to go down and see what's happening.
As I say, I'm going to actually go check that out today because it is my plan to use the bike trail this morning. So.
Oh, really? It's the bike trail near my home, actually. Awesome. Yeah. And where you enter, it is from, I think it's Taylor. It's Hedges Street. That if you go right down to the end of Hedges Street, which is right near the governor's house, the nursing home there.
Yep.
Okay. So your husband, Sean, who's so wonderful to have on the radio. Oh, God, I want the two of you to have your own show.
I probably wouldn't have to twist his arm.
Oh, he is so, you fall in love with him the first time you meet him. Honest to God.
It's true.
Yeah, yeah. And he is just so inclusive, so wonderful that I just love him. But so he's left and you're there alone.
That's right.
So what's that like? I mean, but you're getting out there now, right? Is that right?
Yes. No, I've been out there the whole time. A little bit less. Real estate was deemed essential from the very beginning, so we did change a lot of our standard practices and standard operating procedures. But I never stopped working. So. More working from home. My physical office was closed, so I've become incredibly adept at, just like Jay, working wherever I can open my laptop, which I think is a good thing because you know, I don't have the physical need to like go find the office. I've gone entirely paperless, which I was trying to do anyway, just because printing papers just to throw them away, like flyers and open house and listing sheets and things like that. If someone doesn't take it away, what do you do with it? Well, it goes in the recycling bin. So I try to be careful always about how many things I'm printing when I know that they could just end up as garbage.
Sure.
So now I'm not printing anything because they don't want people touching it, and we're not having open houses, and all of my files.
You're not having open houses.
No, I think that's making a comeback. I did see a couple in Connecticut. I don't know what Massachusetts is doing yet.
But how would you buy a house? My father bought our house without ever looking inside. My mother hated him for. I mean, they love one another, but she couldn't. She threw it up in his face all the time.
You just bought this house without ever looking inside.
Yeah.
I have seen people do that. So far, only 2 in my career, but I've definitely helped clients who said, you know, they're in another state or give us a video tour or just.
This is without a tour. Yeah. He just liked the outside of it.
Yeah, picked it up. But he's a risky taker, and you're still in that house. That's the same house you're still in, right?
It's the same house that we're selling, everybody. We're going to sell this house. Yeah. And in fact, that's what I wanted to ask you, because of course, when you've got the father or the mother dies or both die, and you or an aunt or somebody, and you're trying to sell somebody else's house.
Yep.
Or you decide that you're going to make it a property which is lucrative for you, so you rent out, et cetera, et cetera. Then comes a time where you're old, like my twin brother and I were both 75, the older one. But
I was going to say, you're twins and you're both 75? Wow.
We're both, yeah. Well, I was born a minute before my brother, so I'm technically older.
You're older?
Older. But, hey, so, and my sister, we all own the house together.
Gotcha.
So to get rid of that house is trying to get us all on the same page.
Which is one of the greatest real estate challenges.
Tell me, really?
I'm doing one right now. Well, it's when you have the buyer and you see that it's an estate property and that there's going to be siblings that you're going to be dealing with, you have to decide, who's in charge of the siblings. They all have to make the decision together, and then you have to decide who's greedy and who wants closure. So you're looking for the person that wants closure. But yeah, it can be incredibly tricky to negotiate with siblings, especially if you're not all on the same page.
It is so right. And so I'll look and the phone will ring and I'll see that it's my brother. So I said, oh, it's Dickie. I call him Dickie. He changed his name to Rich for obvious reasons. But but Dickie called me, and or Dick. I guess I should. I don't know. So he calls me and he complains about my sister. And while in the middle of the case, she said, I just got off the phone with her, and she doesn't get it. She does not get it. You got to convince her. And then on the home phone, there's my sister calling. Right during the
one
time.
On each ear.
Yeah. I did that once. That was not a good thing. But the problem with this is, it's a 2-family house. Okay. So there is a tenant on the first floor and there was a tenant on the second floor, of course. They were related, which was, I would not recommend that if I were renting, unless they're really close, et cetera, because then you've got 2 against 1.
Yeah.
If it's a really bad triangle. Yeah. So at any rate, the lovely woman on the first floor told us that she was moving on July 1st, and she indeed has found an apartment and is moving.
Okay.
The guy upstairs is not moving.
Okay.
We were saying, how are we going to show the house?
So you actually have one of the greatest situations in multifamily selling, because
what do you mean?
When you have both apartments occupied, multifamilies are difficult to show when they're occupied because you have 2 tenants, so you need permission from each tenant, and you typically need to give them at least 24 hours notice because as a landlord, even in case of repairs or something, you still need to give them 24 hours notice to be allowed onto property. Tenants aren't likely to make it super easy for you to sell the house because once you sell the house, that's uprooting their lives. Are they going to stay? Are they going to be allowed to stay? Are they going to go?
Yeah.
But when you have one floor empty, that's a great opportunity for an owner-occupant buyer. So the person who wants to buy the house to live in it and have the tenant stay and continue to pay the rent, which is a big portion of the mortgage.
That's what the situation Kenny has.
Yeah, so that's perfect. I'm an owner-occupant of a multifamily. So I live in half of my house and we rent half of my house. And it's really afforded us over the years to have the crazy lifestyle that we have. We can just pick up and go on vacation whenever we like because we're not worried about, our giant mortgage bill at the end of the month.
Sure.
So that's really nice. But yeah, when people are looking for a house, if someone decides they want to buy a house and they want to live in it and have a tenant, you've got one open space that they can move into and they can look at very easily. You can look at that apartment with no notice at all.
Right.
And then usually what they do is you'll say first floor appointments available, second floor available with serious interest after. So if someone looks at the first floor and takes a tour of the outside of the house and says, gee, I really like this house, I think I'd make an offer, but I really got to see that second floor. Then you make the appointment with the tenant and the tenant has to agree to the time and they show it. And then depending on the situation with the tenant, if they're month to month, the person who purchases the house obviously could ask them to move out and put their own tenant in. But if they're under a lease, the new owner has to honor the lease that they have. So if they still have 11 months left on their lease, they're allowed to stay until that lease is up.
I understand that. That's really...
So it's a good situation to have one empty and one occupied.
Well, my brother then calls me again. There's the phone call. Oh, it's you know who. And I answer it. This time, my sister wants to change the bathroom in the house, in the apartment that is being vacated.
Okay.
Because the bathroom does not have a ceiling fan.
Okay. Does it have a window?
It has a window.
Okay.
My brother says, let them open the window.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know about that. I think, there's mold in the bathroom because
That's a
there's
problem.
No. First, we need to fix the mold problem. Secondly, we need to, I think, consider a fan so that it, when you're renting a house and there are certain rooms like the bathroom and or let's say the kitchen, both of those are problematic in their own way, I suppose. Maybe the other rooms are not because they're just squares.
Walls,
walls, right. Or perhaps closet space is needed somewhere. But is it wise to spend the money on the accoutrements like the ceiling fan? I mean, I think you spend $200, you get a ceiling fan.
The fan seems like it would be a good investment. So again, as a landlord and property owner, I always between tenants try to see what needs fixing and maintaining because it's only going to get worse over time. So if there's something that's going to either increase or at least help to maintain the value of your property, then those are things you should do.
Protect your investment too, right?
Yeah. So, and I don't think it's too much to ask $200 or $250 for a ceiling fan.
Right.
That's
especially
fine.
if you have mold. So obviously there needs to be some more ventilation if mold is happening. So
absolutely.
That would eliminate that problem going forward.
Yeah. The other question would be then, do we refrigerator, dishwasher?
Replace the appliances?
Replace the appliances.
I think a good rule of thumb is every 10 years or so.
Yeah, and are they working? Are they in good working order?
If they're the same ones that we had, I don't think they are, but if they're the same ones I remember, Not so much.
Yeah, then I
mean, like, do you want to upgrade, or do you want to just leave it there for the guy who's
this is going to be this is going to be a for sale property rather than a new tenant coming in.
Yeah.
So I would say it'd be easier if I could see the appliances, but if they're not in working order, it's not going to be as attractive as if you have a beautiful apartment with a ceiling fan in the bathroom and some nice new updated appliances. Yeah. That's going to get you a little bit more value. Yes.
So I should go right out there and buy a refrigerator and a dishwasher.
Yeah,
now, do I spend a lot? Do we spend a lot of money on that?
See if you can go Craigslist, the scratch and dent floor at the appliance store. Like,
sure.
A lot of times when people do remodels, they pull out their appliances and you can find them on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, places like that, and
sure.
they're in great shape. And all you need is the means to be able to pick them up or have someone pick them up for you. So
I see. Does the price of the house go down if you don't have those?
Appliances?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's expected that you would have a stove, a fridge, and the appliances that go in the kitchen should be in the kitchen. Interesting.
As a landlord, you should have nobody's going to rent from you if you don't have basic appliances.
Oh, of course. I see it.
And for sale, if they're not in the kitchen, usually you're offering either an allowance for appliances or that they would be installed prior to closing, because people do have an expectation that the appliances will be there. I just had a home inspection where the house has been empty for quite a long time, and the home inspector found that the dishwasher, the refrigerator, and the stove are all not functioning properly. So the buyer asked for a discount because he's going to have to buy all new appliances because he didn't know they were not working when he made the offer.
And that's to the tune of a couple $1,000.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah.
Wow. Washing machine. Yes. Washer and dryer.
Not necessary.
Not necessary.
No, that's a 50-50 thing. Like, as long as there's hookups in the house for a washer and dryer,
sure.
if the machines are not there, you don't need to put brand new ones in. That's up to the new person.
Right. My rental, Bob, I had to bring my own washer dryer.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
Yep. So my rental came with the rental I'm in now, the house.
Yeah.
Came with a dishwasher, a stove, a microwave, and a refrigerator. And no washer dryer, but there were hookups in the basement, so we brought ours over from the apartment we were renting previously.
Right.
And just you knew about it because you heard me talking about it on the show. The refrigerator freezer went.
Yeah, sure.
The freezer stopped working, and I called the landlord and said, what can we do about this? He goes, well, we have one in the basement that we remodeled our kitchen 2 years ago. We put in the basement. And it was still working. The only reason we didn't like it is because it was a side-by-side, and we wanted a chest-style freezer. And so I hooked them up with a moving company in town that removes junk. And they took the old one out for him, and they put the new one in and plugged it in, and he hooked up the water for it for an ice machine. So I have the whole deal.
Yikes! Well, that's a good situation.
Yep.
But you can find companies like that will take the old appliance for you.
Yeah.
And move the new one.
So I was trying to pitch for you, Jess.
Oh.
Yeah, with my brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, no. He's found the most perfect realtor in the entire world.
There goes your referral, Bob.
There goes my referral out the window. There we go. I'm telling you, really.
It's crazy. It's okay with me because I know how crazy it can be.
Well, yeah, and you would probably give up the business. You would give up the business with the three classes working together here. Yikes!
That would scare me, Bob.
I'm available.
Yeah, really,
I'm available for you for consultation on the side if you need therapy or real estate advice.
Fabulous! I'm calling you. Hey,
and now it's time with therapy.
Yeah, therapy
with Jessica
Bob
Martin.
Jessica Martin. That's very important.
I like
yes.
it.
Hey, I just finished yesterday. I've The Man That Got Away. It's the life story of Harold Arlen. You have no idea who Harold Arlen is.
I do not have any idea.
He
How come
wanted
I know
to be
that name.
Yeah, no, because he's a composer who wrote all kinds of wonderful music. I think I've played a lot of them. He wrote all of the Wizard of Oz music, Over the Rainbow, etc.
So you have mentioned him before.
Come
That's
Rain
why
or
it
Shine,
rings a
etc.
bell.
Oh yeah. So I finally finished that book, and he wanted to be a famous all his life, and even and he would not. Well, he didn't sell out, and so consequently, in his later years, he wasn't getting any work whatsoever, and was trying to find work. Ended up even doing his own album, Harold Sings Ireland, which I'm not going to play incidentally, but it's an interesting album. But he wrote a song with Truman Capote, the novelist, believe it or not,
Whoa.
for a musical called House of Flowers. And in that, there's a song that I had to ask you about. There's a legend that says if a bee is in the palm of your hand and it stings you, okay, then you're not going to find your true love. But if it stays in the palm of your hand without stinging you, then you will find your true love.
Bob, a bee is a bee is a bee. It's going to sting you.
Yeah, I have not heard this.
Yeah.
And that's not true, Peter.
No. No. Oh, a bee is not going to sting you.
No, lots of bees are gentle. It's the wasps that'll sting you. You can't mind your own business around them. They will sting you in the face.
Oh, okay.
But bees tend to be more gentle and of the furry variety and fuzzy, all types of bees, from mason bees to honey bees, carpenter bees, all those bees. They just kind of buzz around you, and unless you are like applying pressure or doing something aggressive toward their home, they're not usually.
But if you hold it in the palm, if you hold it in the palm of your hand.
If you leave your hand open,
yes,
it should be okay. If you start to close your hand, you'll probably get a sting. So you can determine your love lore from that.
All right. So everybody this week, go out there and find. And if you want to know your true love,
catch a bee, but don't close your hand.
Yeah. And if that bee sleeps and doesn't sting you, then you've got true love coming your way.
Sounds good.
Bob, you realize you've just introduced us to all kinds of liability.
Oh yeah,
by telling people to go catch bees.
Oh yeah. No. Hey, everybody. So Johnny Hartman is one of my favorite jazz artists. You don't know Johnny Hartman, but I love Johnny Hartman, and this is his version of a sleepin' bee. Barbra Streisand also has this on her first album. She sings lots of Harold Arlen songs that you probably have heard and didn't know Arlen wrote them. I'm going to play one more song for you later on in the show if we get to it. All right. So Johnny Hartman's A Sleepin' Bee.
When a bee lies sleeping in the palm of your hand, you're bewitched and deep in love's long looked after land, where you see a sun-up sky with a morning dew, and where the days go laughing by as love come calling on you. Sleep on, bee, don't waken, can't believe what just passed. She's mine for the taking, I'm so happy at last. Maybe I dream, but she seems sweet golden as a crown. Sleep on, bee, then told me I'll walk with my feet off the ground when my one true love I have found. Sleep on, bee, don't wait, and can't believe just what passed. She's mine for the taking, I'm so very happy at last. Maybe I dreams, but she seems sweet golden as a crown. A sleeping bee done told me I'll walk with my feet off the ground when my one true love I have found. When my one true love I have found. When my one true love.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Noble Hospital, a brand new name for a Westfield institution which is improving the health of our community every day with quality and compassion. Noble Hospital and Bay State Health, better together.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is June 16th, 2020 and counting, and we are here with that kitten of the keys. Meow.
Meow. All the internet issues have cleared up, so we're clear sailing on all platforms.
Really? Were we off the air on
we were going up and down a couple of times, I think, as they were rebooting switches in the chain. So the Genie was updating all their software.
Gotcha.
So they had it when you update the software, you got to reboot the switches. So I was monitoring, and I'm getting frantic things from Danny and Ace. You're down, you're up, you're out, you're out. So I'm just sitting here watching
you're
it.
In, you're out, you're
every time it disconnects, I'm just watching it, and I'm just keep reconnecting. So
wow.
There were little gaps between 6 and 6:30, but we've been stable for a while now. So
I couldn't get us streaming on the way in the car, so then I had to tune in on the actual radio station.
And that was going up and down too.
Yeah,
because we lost. The city lost access to the internet for short periods of time, and they try to do it when the least amount of people were on, and unfortunately we're on at 6 o'clock in the morning, so
yeah.
I want to cancel the show because they can watch it all on the tape later too. So
yeah.
If you want to hear me and Bob going at it, you listen at 6 o'clock.
Did you hear us at 6?
I caught part of it.
Oh, God help us. Yeah. That's what it would be like.
We should do a Lincoln Douglas debate, Bob.
Really, we ought to. I'm still. What was I going to say? Oh, you know what? Counseling Peter and I would be a really. We'd pay you for that.
Family therapy.
Family therapy with the two of us.
Bob, we're good. This is what America's about, though. At the end of the day, we can agree, we can disagree, but we're still friends.
And you guys are good communicators because you do let each other talk and listen to one another. So even when you disagree, I do feel like you're good at communicating. So there's no problem that can't be worked through or around.
Yeah.
Right? No. And sometimes you've got to know what battles you can win and what battles you can't win. And
that's why I'm not on Facebook anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Except to promote like shows and stuff like that. That's it. I've given up.
Smart choice.
Yeah.
I've given up.
Well, you know what, Peter? I just said something. This winning and losing is, I don't know, when you have fights with your husband, do you go in there wanting to win or wanting it to be, the relationship to be better or whatever? Because wanting to win is different than let's hear the other side and see if we can come to, and so just the mere fact that I said, I am going to win if it kills me with Peter.
Is wanting to win the same
good.
as wanting to be right?
No, because what I do is when you and I discuss things and argue whatever, is I gain insight into where you're thinking, right? And then I try to put myself in your shoes for a while, and I say, how would I feel if I was getting your inputs and doing that? And I'd probably, if I was getting the inputs that you're getting, right, I'd probably feel that way. But I take the extra effort to look at both sides of the argument. I subscribe to the Our Revolution feed, which is the far left feed, right? I also subscribe to the Tea Party feed. I want to see what the fringes are doing because I know where the middle. I know where the middle is. I kind of know where the middle is, and the middle in this country is very. In the social issues, they're fairly progressive. On the fiscal issues, they're fairly conservative. That's the middle in this country. That's the balance right there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But I subscribe to the far left and far right because I want to see what the nuts are doing. Because if I know what the nuts are doing, then because they're getting all the airtime, right? Because they drive eyeballs. They're controversial. They stir up emotions, and that's what's driving the news media on both ends of it, right? So those are the extremes. If I know what they're doing, then I know. Then I have an insight into what's driving the news media, and I know what to not ignore, but say, you know what, I'll take that with a grain of salt.
And
that's my philosophy on the news business, too.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you listen to, somebody told me that Al Jazeera, I don't know if it's still operating, was a really fair station, believe it or not. The one that was created.
The BBC's very fair.
And the BBC, yeah. And
I watch the BBC to find out what's going on in Europe.
I don't know if you've heard them, that they're just cut and dry. this is happening, that is happening, et cetera, et cetera. Our news business now is mostly, yeah. Although if you listen to ABC or NBC, not MSNBC or Fox, God help us.
The mainstream news is a little less, but remember too, this is the problem with mainstream news, and I know I've said this, and it's been written in books, is when they became under the entertainment division and they stopped being their own division of a network, is when they had to lose their objectivity, because now instead of getting a budget, you're beholden to your advertisers for your budget. And when you become beholden to your advertisers, you have to get eyeballs no matter what. That's the driving force. It's not necessarily getting it. You still try to get it right, but you have to beat everybody, and you have to create eyeballs. You have to create viewership.
Well, there's that winning. Are you a winner, or where do you fit into this, Jessica Martin?
A winner.
I mean, like when you're. Oh my God! There's a realtor spin on Dead to Me. Have you seen Dead to Me on television?
I did watch the first couple of episodes. I have not been watching a lot of television lately, but I did like it. I love Christina Applegate.
Oh my God! She's a
realtor.
realtor.
Yes,
she's a realtor in this.
So I will definitely revisit that, because I've heard people say it's funny, and I did like the couple episodes that I watched.
Well, it's not only funny; it is Ozark light. If you liked Ozark, you're going to love Dead to Me, because it has that.
So little TV.
Yeah. Oh my God, you got to see this. The good news is it's only a half-hour episode.
Right.
So or 30.
And it's like a dark comedy, right?
It's very dark, but it's about friendship.
Mm-hmm.
It's about grief. A lot about grief, because the husband dies in the first episode, or is dead in the first episode, and the woman goes to a grief group, and that begins
where
her
she
friendship.
meets the crazy friend, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
and that crazy friend and her go through a whole group of things, and I don't think it's giving anything away. I think you'll find this out, that in the first episode, guess who? No, maybe not. It's in the second episode. I'm not sure. The idea that the person that she becomes a friend with is the person who actually was somehow responsible in a way for her husband's death.
Yes.
Nice. That's a good plot twist.
Yes.
It's a really good plot twist. And I've seen this show. I've got only 2 more hours to. It's going to be like I'm going to lose it for.
It's 2 seasons.
Two
right?
seasons right now, and it's going to come back.
Right.
But
you'll be done binging. And
oh my God! But
see, Bob, the type of TV I watch is like Rise of the Supercarrier, talking about the first British supercarrier in decades. I watch stuff like that because that fascinates me.
Oh yeah. Well, lately I just think in this time we have to watch everything we can to learn about difference and in other people. So I'm watching right now. I'm watching 13th, the documentary about the 13th Amendment. I'm also just finished watching Grant, which is great on the History Channel.
Ulysses S. Grant.
It's called Grant, yeah, and it's about his time in office as well as his time in the Civil War, and it really tells you about Reconstruction and where the roots of our beyond slavery. Where we got to, how we got there. Grant is really great, a really wonderful. And the other one is, have you ever read any James Baldwin, you guys? James Baldwin? Do you know him?
No.
Do you know the name at all?
Sounds familiar. But
it does sound familiar.
A playwright, an author, a novelist, wrote Giovanni's Room, oh my God, Fire Next Time. And he is a gay black man who is revered in the high literature community, let's call it that, and also in the black community, really needs to be celebrated. His documentary that I recommend you see for him is I Am Not Your Negro, and how he learns about his life and puts his life into his work, and how that work is reminiscent or is reflective of society and wanting to change. He died young, and it's really well worth it. So I've been watching those things, those kinds of documentaries.
Are those all Netflixable?
All Netflixable.
Excellent.
Or Amazon.
Okay. I have those.
Yeah. I think they're worth watching. But Dead to Me, the realtor in Dead to Me, she'll
I'll
do
watch that
anything
again,
for a
too.
sale.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you. Really? Yeah. And I don't know if it gives. I'd be interested. We'll talk after you've seen the whole series. Whether you feel that it gives realtors a bad name or not.
Oh, we get such a bad name.
Do
so
you?
I'm
Do
sure.
you?
Yeah.
Are you like lawyers or something?
Yeah, which again I say I always tell this story that I feel like I was incredibly naive when I got into this business because I already had my license in my hand when I realized that people think real estate people are like lawyers or car salesmen, like just sharks circling around, just trying to make the deal and take advantage and all that stuff. And so yeah, I work very hard to say, okay, I work in a business where that's the general consensus, but I promise that's not what I'm going to do. Yeah.
I think that's always the case. You sort of filter it. Oh my God, she's a realtor. Oh God. But then you realize who the people are beneath them, you know.
Yes.
And winning and realtor, getting that sale.
Yeah, putting all the pieces together, that does feel very good when you can make something work, especially when there was a danger of it not coming together.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think at any cost. Like, to me, it's never about the money. It's always about what's most important to the person that I'm working for, whether it's selling their house, buying a new house, even getting a rental.
Well, here's a situation for you. The character on the show is selling a house to a man who says, I don't like the sea so much. I don't know. I don't like the water. I mean, I never go in the water. But she's selling him a house on the beach.
With a water view, yeah.
And finally she comes around to say, you know what? I can't in conscience sell you this house because you're going to be looking at why spend all this money to live on the water when you don't care about the water.
Right.
You know?
Get a cheaper house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of counsel. That's what I think.
Well, she sounds like a good agent in that case because that's a good thing.
Took her a long time to get there.
Yeah.
It was 2 seasons. At any rate, hey, I am going to play this song. Let's do. Why don't we do Groucho Marx? This is Harold Arlen. Again, I played this song for you. This is from the movie Animal Crackers.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is his version of Lydia the Tattooed Lady. There's something really happy about that. And if you look,
Seriously?
If you look,
okay,
if you want to go close to the camera, you could point out all these things that he's going to talk about. That you are Lydia the Tattooed Lady. You've got them all. We'll stay all night and sing every one of them. Lydia the Tattooed Lady. This is actually Groucho Marx from that movie.
This meeting brings back memories. Childhood days, lemonade, romance. My life was wrapped around a circus. Her name was Lydia. I met her at the World's Fair in 1900, marked down from 1940. Lydia. She was the most glorious creature under the sun. Thais, Dubari, Gabo. Rolled into one. Lydia, oh Lydia, say have you met Lydia? Lydia the tattooed lady. She has eyes that folks adore so, and a torso even more so. Lydia, oh Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh Lydia, the queen of tattoo. On her back is the Battle of Waterloo. Beside it, the wreck of the Hesperus too. And proudly above waves the red, white, and blue. You can learn a lot from Lydia. When a robe is unfurled, she will show you the world. If you step up and tell her where, for a dime you can see Kankakee or Paris or Washington crossing the Delaware. Oh Lydia, say have you met Lydia? Lydia the tattooed lady. When our muscles start relaxing, up the hill comes Andrew Jackson. Lydia, oh Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh Lydia, the queen of them all. For for 2 bits she will do a mazurka and jazz with a view of Niagara that nobody has. And on a clear day you can see Alcatraz. You can learn a lot from Lydia. La, la, la. Come along and see Buffalo Bill with his lasso. Just a little classic by Mendel Picasso. Here is Captain Spaulding exploring the Amazon. Here's Godiva, but with her pajamas on. La, 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 here is Grover Whalen unveiling the Trilon. Over on the West Coast we have Treasure Island. Here's Nijinsky doing the rumba. Here's her social security number. Oh, Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh, Lydia, the champ of the world. She once swept an admiral clear off his feet. The ships on her hips made his heart skip a beat. And now the old boy's in command of the fleet, for he went and married Lydia. I said Lydia. He said Lydia. They said Lydia. We said Lydia. La, la.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardie siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
Underwriting for Community Radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday, June 16th, 2020, and counting, and I am here with the encyclopedia herself. I was telling you off camera.
Oh, Jessica.
Yeah.
Jessica.
yeah, Jessica, the tattooed lady. The producers of that movie made Harold Arlen, actually the lyricist is Yip Harburg, they made him change the lyrics because, and marrying her at the end wasn't in the original song, and it was too scandalous for back then to be talking about this woman so personally. So there had to be a happy ending, if you pardon the expression, and so he went and he married Lydia.
Yeah, well, got to make an honest woman out of us, you know?
That's exactly right. You don't have Washington crossing the Delaware anywhere on your body.
I don't yet.
Yeah.
There's still some small space, but yeah, those all sound like terribly difficult tattoos to reproduce on the skin.
Oh my God! No, you could have an American flag somewhere.
I guess that's true.
A
You could, but
flag.
still, all those stars and stripes are hard to get across in the skin.
All right.
It's a lot of detail.
No, well, look, I'm looking right at that beautiful book, which
yes, that's a good
to Kill a Mockingbird, which is a great book to read during these times.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with
reading
Black
the
Lives Matter and with all of that stuff that we need to find out about the other person, put ourselves in another person's shoes.
Yes.
I suppose To Kill a Mockingbird is really one of those.
Fantastic recommendation. Yes, timeless classic and so fun to read and definitely relevant still. Yes.
Yeah, and when you get back to New York and to see To Kill a Mockingbird, watch the movie, but it's now on stage in New York City. And if they get back, whenever that's going to be, you're going to be able to see the stage version.
Highly recommend that too. I did not see it on Broadway, but I saw it on the Hartford stage.
You did?
With Matthew Modine, which was amazing because it was such a small theater. And Matthew
This
Modine
is where they
has-
got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah. It is. It's a classic that I really love a lot. When you think of books, okay, this is Gay Pride Month, believe it or not. Do you know it's Gay Pride?
I didn't know it was Gay Pride Month.
Yeah. Have you read any books that have gay themed or gay characters?
Interesting. I certainly, I'm sure that I have. I can't think of one, like nothing springing to the forefront, but
Yeah.
maybe we should pick something to read that's considered.
I would say Hana Yamagahara book. Hana Yamagahara is it's called A Life, but unfortunately it is about 7,000 pages long.
That's too long.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I would
yeah.
give that a Google and see what would be recommended reading
Maybe
for Gay Pride Month. And
yeah.
I would definitely, even just like something specifically like read this gay author or read this book that's a novel, whatever. I'll read anything.
Yeah. I think that when you say gay themed, you immediately think of, oh God, is it going to be a lot of sex? But quite honestly, good gay themed books talk about the people involved. There was one called The Front Runner that was written actually by a woman. I can't remember what her name was, but long ago, and it was about a man falling in love with an Olympic athlete. I hated it, incidentally. I hated it. But the athlete was so loved that you just... Oh my God! The writer spoke of him in such glowing terms. I wanted him to die. I mean, he had no faults. It was
You gotta be terrible for Bob to wish that on you.
terrible,
Yeah.
terrible. But I just was. I think that the idea of reading about another culture, regardless of what that culture is important.
Yes.
And especially when we celebrate difference and celebrating difference, maybe we ought to read. There's a movie out. My Name is something. That's My Name or something. Oh,
My
God.
Name is
Oh
something.
God, I can't remember. Maybe somebody out there. We've got to talk about that. But I was wondering. One of the things that I find that is people like to hear is the stories. Well, about coming out. Or, I mean, when you meet a gay person, is that one of the things you want to ask about? Or
Not necessarily.
No.
I find that with any person, like that's not something, I don't know, that's not something you bring up in standard conversation. I
No.
feel like it comes up as you get to know someone.
Yeah.
So to just be like, oh, hey, how did you come out? It seems
Yeah.
like a straight. Do people ask you that as a gay man? Are people interested in that at
I
your
think
age
they're
now
interested,
when you meet a new person? They're
Yeah.
like, Bob, you're gay. Tell us how you came out. Right?
Yeah. Once in Munich, 1967. I would
Picture
say,
it.
yeah, picture. That's good. I would say that they do probably, but they don't really want to ask those kinds of questions.
Yeah, because I do
unless
feel
you
there's-
welcome,
there's- yeah,
unless you
'cause
welcome
there is
them.
curiosity. Like I have an interesting situation with. I have a close friend who's transgender, and I knew her prior to transitioning. And I have lots of questions all the time, but we have a relationship where I'm totally comfortable asking those questions.
Sure.
But if it was someone I met now, I would not necessarily, on our first meeting say, so when did you know? Or how did you this? Or how does that work?
Yeah.
Because there's, appropriate conversation.
Or how do you how do you want to be called?
Right. Yeah. It's
You
just
know.
all things like that, which in the day and age where we live, where so many things have changed and there's people are hypersensitive to things, you do have to be a little bit careful. But yeah, I think you have to consider yourself before you ask a question. You have to say, what if that question was asked of me? Would I think it were appropriate?
Yeah.
And then you go forward from there. But there's a lot of thinking before you open your mouth, I think.
And should there be a discussion? What about with young kids? At what point do you talk about difference with young kids?
I think you just always should be talking about it so that it's not like, oh, you're 6 now. Let's sit down and tell you about you're an appropriate age to learn about this and that. You should expose kids to everything. Through
You know.
You know what, Bob? I think too that I see this in my son, that the kids of this generation and the generation that are in school now are a lot more inclusive and accepting of others of any kind than any generation we've ever had. And I don't know if that's through teaching. It could be, but I think it's just through experience that there's a lot more that they're exposed to now than they were even in my generation.
Yeah, and if you
totally,
keep that going, like I'm watching friends raise families and kids, and with the amount of diversity that we have just across humanity now, it's very easy to expose your kids to all different types of things.
How can you not?
And if you just do it and you don't say this person's different and here's why they're different, but you should still accept them. You don't have to have that conversation. You just introduce your children to all the different
and even
things.
with access to travel and things like that, and access to the internet and cultures, that kids are more exposed to other cultures and other ways of thinking than they ever have been, and kids are curious anyways, and that's why I like
when I was studying social work, I was told that most kids really realize difference of color at age 8, believe it or not, but not in this culture anymore. Not when you turn on a television and you see a protest and whatever. There was this great discussion on NPR this morning that said that a child's understanding of race, or that there are different people now, it's 2 to 4 that they learn racism. From age 2 to 4, believe it or not. And that how do you talk to a 4-year-old about race? Well, they suggested that you go out and you buy a book. Their Beautiful Hair, I think it's the name of it, or it has hair, Hair, and it's about the pride that a little black girl has in her hair. And so you just read the book, and then just the kid will have questions about that. There are plenty of biographies about black people. There are some. Mommy has 2. No, I Have 2 Mommies is a book for children about being gay. And it is not being afraid to talk about it.
Yes.
In a way that doesn't make all I got when I was growing up was stay away from him. Right. Or, I have black friends or, and I wonder, why do you even have to say that?
Right.
It's an interesting thing. And I think that reading can help someone to understand that,
Can help with so much at a young age.
Yeah. Television doesn't help much. Although now we're beginning to get honest depictions of the black experience and the gay experience on TV. Although Will and Grace was a wonderful show, and it certainly comes a long way from Love, Sydney, which was the first sitcom with Tony Randall. This was about a gay guy, but it was stereotypical,
Yep.
And you want a full experience. And it's very interesting we mentioned Dead to Me, because in that show, there are some gay characters who it's not pointed. There's no discussion.
Right.
There's no discussion.
That's what we need.
And
More of that.
That's just there, And I think, as Peter says, that people growing up with an experience of somebody who is of a different color or a different sexuality, you learn that there's really no difference, that we all bleed and the same.
We all put our drawers on the same way in the morning.
Our relationships are all fraught with anxiety and angst, and learning how to negotiate them. And
But I've noticed that in the
et cetera.
kids is they're not following the example necessarily of their parents.
Oh,
is that
no,
they're
no,
doing
no.
they're doing their own thing, and that's why I'm saying, even with young kids, as long as you set a fairly good example as a parent, they're going to take that as part of their environment, and then they're going to take what they get at school. And that's also why I think that having schools being distant learning is really harmful to the kids' social development. It really is, in ways that we are going to experience if this stays like this.
No, I know that.
It's going to be very hurtful to a lot of kids.
Very important to have relationships with people, and how do you have those relationships in a time of COVID and do it well? That's the interesting thing.
I'm dating in a time of COVID and just started a relationship at a time of COVID, and it's hard.
Yikes!
It's very hard.
Yeah.
It really is. No,
Yeah.
truly, it's hard.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were saying, Zoom fatigue.
Zoom
Can you
fatigue.
imagine if you're single out there and you've got Zoom fatigue?
FaceTime dating, yeah.
FaceTime day. Oh my God.
It's not easy.
Yeah. Do you FaceTime with your husband like down in Atlanta, or do you talk? What's that like?
Occasionally, we're not big FaceTimers. Even with as much as Sean does travel, we talk usually twice a day, like morning and evening. Yeah, we're more of phone callers, and I don't know if that's because of it really was the foundation of our relationship. Like that's how we
Sure.
built our relationship. So I don't know if that's just what we go back to because
Yeah.
it's what we know, and we didn't have FaceTime at that time. But we will do it occasionally. And like we send each other funny videos, I guess is a funny thing. Like I was
Right.
out with one of my friends. I did my first restaurant last week or just on Saturday.
Yeah.
So she went to use the restroom. So I took my phone out and I did just a quick video like, hi, I'm sitting by the river having a drink and just wanted to say hi to you. And I just send that as a video message to his phone. But yeah, we don't do a ton of it. We more just talk with our voices. But I have been FaceTiming other people a lot during this.
Oh yeah, and when you, it's really interesting when you do the difference between a phone conversation and seeing some conversation.
Yep.
Sometimes the phone can really prompt you to really activate what they're actually saying, but you really need the face in
'cause you
order
don't have
to
the
know
visual
what's
cues.
behind it. You don't have those visual cues.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's exactly right.
People develop a lot. So the reason I hate text messaging is because you have no emotion on text messaging.
There's no tone.
You have some emotion on voice calling because you can hear the tone of their voice.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot more than that on the video calling. So you depending on what senses you want to use, but it seems like Jessica, you can really pick up emotion with a voice call, and that works best for you.
I do like the voice call. You've all
Yeah.
seen my handset. I like to
Oh,
just talk on that
yeah.
phone.
I think that's awesome.
I love it. I love it. So, look, I'm going to play a song. This is from another great series, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you seen all three?
I did watch some of that too. I've been bad at TV because I watch a couple episodes and I haven't been going back. But that was super cute and funny.
Oh, it's very funny. And
Yeah.
it's also, it takes place in the 50s, and there's a gay character in it, believe it or not. And it is modeled after, guess who? Johnny Mathis. Because, Johnny Mathis had a huge music career and had to keep his sexuality hidden through all of that. And so there's a whole storyline, and the guy's name in the show is Shy Baldwin. And he is this big singer that Mrs. Maisel tours with. He's a black, great superstar, yet he has a secret life that nobody knows of. And so you get to see him learn about this, and you'll get to see Mrs. Maisel's reaction. And they're funny and they're real. And that's what I love about it. And interestingly enough, it was the song that was written for the show really has a lot to do with gay pride and the history of being gay in America. This is by Darius DeHaas. Darius, Dehaas. Incredible singer actor. Google him, Darius DeHaas, Dehaas. And this is a song that was written for the show called No One Has to Know. And it has an innuendo to it. That's how we lived until the present day. And somebody like Johnny Mathis needs to be celebrated. So here's Darius DeHaas, No One Has to Know, from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
No one has to know I think you're wonderful. No one has to know. You're my dream come true. Let the world go spinning in space. We'll find a place for two, so no one has to know I want you. No one but you. No one else can tell. I think you're beautiful. No one else can tell. You're my favorite view. Let the world all think what they will. I'll wait until they're through. 'Cause no one has to know I need you. No one but you. Tell you tonight I'm gonna sigh and speak your name, speak your name. Tonight I'm gonna tell you that I'm hoping, praying that darling you feel the same, feel the same. No one has to know we could have everything. No one has to know that I always knew. Let the world do what it does. You're safe with me because I love you. No one but you. There's no one but you.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldState.bncollege.com.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday and it is I was going to say January. It's June in January.
Wow, it's January.
Oh, God. June 20. No, what is it? Tell me the date.
It's June 16th.
It's right there on the television set. June 16th, 2020 and counting. It is a Tuesday. And yeah. Hey, we want to talk about the book that we read this month. Yeah. I kind of sicked you on this book.
Yes. Well, again, this is why you do book discussions. It's so that you have the opportunity to read something you wouldn't necessarily pick for yourself, and open your literary mind a little bit.
Yeah, I had read Olive Kitteridge years back, a couple of years ago, and thought it was very, very interesting. Then I watched the TV version. You got to see the TV show based on Olive Kitteridge. It was written by a woman named Elizabeth Strout, who always appears in these columns when people are saying, what are you reading in the New York Times? They're always seeming to read an Elizabeth Strout novel. And she's only written, I think, 5 or 6.
Okay.
And so I'm determined to read them all, and then I can that's that.
Put it
Whether
to
I
bed.
like them or not is
So
a
you've
question.
already finished 3.
I actually have finished 4, and I'm on my 5th. Yeah.
So you're almost done.
Oh yeah, no,
With
yes.
her entire discography.
Yes, I have. No, she's written a new one called Olive Again, which is the same character. And what she does is she goes to a town in Indiana and a town in Maine. Shirley Falls in Maine. No, wait a minute. Is it Shirley Falls? No, West. Yeah, Shirley Falls and West Annette in Maine are 2 towns that her book is based on. Her books are based on, a couple of them. And then in Indiana, this is a town in Indiana, and I can't remember the town. But we're going to discuss My Name is Lucy Barton.
Yes.
You hated Olive Kitteridge.
Yes, and I am willing to revisit the idea that my opinion of that book may have changed had I read it now. So I read it, I would say, over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was for a book club
1998,
discussion.
I think it was.
Yeah,
something like that.
and I read it. It's at least 10 years ago, and I remember it's short stories, right? So I couldn't figure out how they were going to interconnect, and I got frustrated quickly with it. And I am not someone who puts a book down. Like I try to power through everything, and that book is not even very long. But I really, at the time, I did not like it, and I put it aside, and I said, oh, I'll finish that later in time for the book club discussion, and I never picked it up again. I did not finish it. I went to the meeting, I drank the wine, I listened to them talk about it. But that was all.
Their talk, did they like the book?
No, I think it was. I remember it was a majority of not the best pick. Not everybody loved it, but there were a couple that did really enjoy it. So again, that's why different readers like different things.
Yeah, Elizabeth Strout, Strout, has won all kinds of awards.
Yes, and this book won, or was it? It was nominated for the Booker Award.
Yeah.
2016, right?
My Name is Lucy Barton. I don't have it with us, or with me. Did you? So I said we're going to read this book.
Yes, and I said, well, I read Oliver Kitteridge by her, but I threw it away. I did not finish it, so I was up for the challenge. I would give the author another try, right?
All right, so let's see what this try brought. Would you tell everybody what the story is, and then tell
Lucy Barton. It's well, I guess I don't want to do a synopsis and give anything away, but
no.
Lucy Barton is the main character. She's first person point of view. She comes from a poor and sort of awful childhood.
Abusive childhood, yeah.
Grows up to be an author, and the book takes place, which again, one of the things, well, I'll get this done and then I'll talk about how I felt about it.
Yeah.
It's sort of sporadic. She jumps in and out of a timeline.
Yes, that's
and
exactly
it's her childhood, it's her current day, and then it's a flashback to a time where she spent quite a few weeks in the hospital after having her appendix. She has her appendix out, but then has some complications and has to stay in the hospital for a while. And that is during the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And her mother comes to visit her during her hospital stay. And
the abusive mother.
She has not seen her mother in several years, and she just shows up. So then you flash forward to the present day, and it's like you get this whole timeline in these very short pages of Lucy's childhood, her current life, and this middle part where she's hospitalized and has a bunch of life realizations.
Yeah, she's forced, in a sense, to talk to a mother that she didn't really know, number
Super
one,
awkward.
and really didn't have nice things to say about prior to, I would say, right?
Yes, no, definitely. There was a lot of bad stuff from childhood where you were like, oh, and now you're here. But she does it's almost heartbreaking. She does a very good job of trying so hard as the daughter in the hospital bed to make her mother feel comfortable being there. And like you can see that she wants her mother to approve of her and accept her and love her. And the mother's not super capable of that. But just by being there, maybe that's how she's able to show her love, but Lucy would like a little bit more, which is not, unreasonable.
There's this interesting scene, I think, where Lucy wakes up in the morning and the mother has fallen asleep with her hand on her.
Yes.
And her mother has never said, "I love you."
Yes.
Ever.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And also demonstrated because of the abusive father. Actually, you hear these stories and you say, how did these children grow up? How did this woman grow up to be a wonderful author in the book? She grows up to be a very well-known author, and she uses her childhood experience. I wondered to what extent it was real. I mean, like, it sounded like Elizabeth was writing about her own childhood in a sense.
Right, yeah. The truth of life told in the novel style so that you can have your inspiration but keep it fictional. Entirely possible, but you hear a lot of authors say, that's not necessarily where we get it from. But
well, what do you think? Did you like this book?
I'm gonna go, so on our 1 to 5 star scale, I am going to give this book a 2.5 stars.
2.5.
And I'll tell you why. So, no, I did not love this book.
Mm-hmm.
However, I can say that it was easy to read. It was short.
Mm-hmm.
It was well written. She is a good writer in the sense that there's beautiful language in there. I got to start writing down quotes. I did have a couple things where I was like, oh, that's a beautiful sentence. So there is beautiful, beautiful writing. However, I did not like how disjointed it seemed in the flashes chapter to chapter, like, oh, we're here, now we're there. It didn't flow for me super well. But stylistically, that's obviously a choice she made. So
sure.
That I think is okay, but didn't appeal to me as a reader. That doesn't mean it's bad. Someone else might love it. I also found it to be incredibly emotive. Like the writing made me feel sad. It made me feel terrible for Lucy Barton. I didn't get a lot of happy feelings out of the book. So, and again, not that I'm someone who needs a happy ending, but I don't personally like to feel bad. I don't like to watch movies that make you cry. I don't like to read books that are sad. So those are the reasons that
I don't think that
like
the books of Elizabeth Strout are really sad.
Right. They all make you feel bad. So I probably won't pursue too much more of her writing just because I know, okay, you are a good writer, but you are maybe not the author for me. So if you like to read sad stuff that is emotive.
Well, a book can be sad and hopeful at the same time, and also could be real.
Did you find hope in this book, though? What made you?
I found that this book made me start to think about my own experience as a child.
Interesting.
And growing up, we weren't poor as kids. Maybe I didn't think of myself as poor. We were probably lower middle class. My father was a carpenter, but and I don't think that we weren't abused in any great way. Although you'd swear that depending on who you talk to in our family, that that there
people have different definitions of abuse in this day and age too.
Verbal abuse, emotional abuse. I don't know, or just plain that parents sometimes don't know how to raise kids.
Yes,
and they do the best that they can, and sometimes the best is not the best for the kid.
Yes,
but it had me thinking about my past in a different way. It really was poignant to me that we have this mother forced to talk to her daughter in a hospital room, and they're just getting to know one another. And sometimes I liked the mother, and sometimes I didn't like the mother. Most of the time I thought she was a real put down.
Yes.
I mean, she put her daughter down or didn't think kindly of other people.
Yes. No, she definitely was a negative character all the way around. And it's nice that she did come, obviously, but it was at the prompting of the husband. And yeah, she had a lot of negative things to say in the stories she told, even though some of them were funny. And to not be able to tell your adult daughter who is in the hospital that you love her when she straight up asks you to say it.
Oh my gosh! Yes,
makes you feel terrible.
Oh yeah. And there's a point in it that actually the daughter says the mother says you can leave now.
Yeah.
This is in a flashback.
Yep.
In a very interesting period where the daughter visits the mother in Indiana, and the mother says, "You can leave now."
Yeah, which I actually thought was the nicest thing the mother did in the book.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil the scenario, but I thought that was a nice thing that she finally did for Lucy.
There is a kind of reading that makes you reflect.
Yes.
And reflecting on your own relationships with our parents, it's important, I suppose. And for that, I give it props.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. There's a lot of good stuff.
There's a real humanity here. Let's call it human. The human need to connect.
Yes, and you just nailed that too, because that's another positive/negative for me, because I can never decide on this point. It's almost too real. Like, it was almost too real. It's a novel, and I like to escape. I like to, in my reading, I like Stephen King, and I like, wild and crazy stuff. So when something is this real and this emotional, again, not my favorite thing to read, but she sort of nailed it. It was so true to life. You could totally believe that these people were real and that those were their circumstances.
Yes.
And feel bad for them and say, oh, terrible.
So if you want to find out in the book, she's very successful as an author. In the book, this character, Lucy, is very successful. In the series of short stories that are based on the characters in this book, called Anything is Possible, remember that by Elizabeth Strout, Anything is Possible, the character Lucy Barton visits her brother and her sister after the mother has died, after she has been successful in the small town in Indiana, and it tells what happens. So if you don't read anything else, go and read that story. Because
I may have to follow up and read that one.
I got to say, it's, again, kind of sad, but real.
Yep.
And there is there's some humor in this book, okay? All right.
Definitely.
So I'll give you my take. I'm going to say 3 1/4.
Okay.
3 1/4, which is not a great deal more from your 2.5
but
for Lucy Barton.
It's a good score. That means you liked the book. It's not one of your top favorites, but you did enjoy reading it.
I thought it was worth reading.
You would recommend it?
I would recommend it for people who are wanting to explore their relationship with their parents.
Yeah, it does make you reflect a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
I am reading her book, which is called what's the name? Abide With Us Now, which is about a minister in Maine. And again, it's that same type of work. I don't know. I think Amy and Isabel is her first novel. Got a lot of praise. James said it was one of the best novels he'd ever read.
Wow.
Amy and Elizabeth. Or Amy and, not Elizabeth, Amy and Isabel. Interesting.
And you read that one?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Saving the best for last.
Yeah. And then there's another one called The Burgess Boys, which is about it's a mystery kind of thing. And again, well written. I have not read that one. So I've got a couple more to read. But I had to cleanse my palate after reading this book. I read Dan Brown's book right after the what's his famous one? The Da Vinci
Code.
Da Vinci Code, yeah.
Yeah. So I read the one right after that, which is called The Lost Symbol. It takes place in Washington, and it's about the founding fathers and about the secret codes, and it's all based in reality, apparently. And the problem, again, with Dan Brown's books for me is that they leave me going, oh, my God, I got to read the next one. Oh, they get me so damn anxious.
See, that's how I feel about Dale Brown.
Oh, Dale Brown. Who is that?
He writes about military weapons and science fiction stuff. and the high tech weaponry that he wrote about 10 years ago, and you're now starting to see leak out that we have stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well,
he's got it in somewhere.
Oh, you sure do? I think he's from around here somewhere.
Dale Brown, I think he lives in Arizona now, but he was U.S. military for a long time.
There's some
connection. And it's
to
rumored that
this
he worked in Area 51 in Dreamland. And that was his first book, Dreamland, all about that high-tech weaponry.
Oh, wow.
Not about aliens, but about high-tech weapons.
I was reading Dan Brown's book when I was having my tooth extracted last week. And so I was reading this.
You're reading it as you. How can you read as you get a tooth extracted?
They left the room for a while, and so I said, I think in my Ativan days, I read Dan Brown, and I'm thinking, what am I reading? This book is making me anxious. I'm right here in the chair about to have a tooth done, and I'm reading the damn book. So at any rate, I give that book a great. It was really interesting. If you like those kind of fast-paced things that you can't put the book down, and you don't want to get anxious, read The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. You have a suggestion for everybody in their final minutes here?
I am reading The Colorado Kid right now by Stephen King, which is a short little mystery. It's very short for Stephen King. I think it's 200 pages.
Really? This might be one that I read.
Yes, and it's so far it's wonderful. I've been turning the pages very quickly, and I'm excited to hopefully finish it tonight. So Colorado Kid, just a little tiny mystery by Stephen King.
And what's the mystery in it? Is it who?
So it's a dead body on the beach on a little island off of Maine, found by 2 high school runners, and the mystery is where did he come from? How did he get here? And
where did the Colorado Kid come from?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I might be Colorado.
Yeah, maybe Colorado. Maybe he came from Colorado.
All right. So at any rate, hey, I really love seeing you.
Same.
Yeah. And I can't wait to see you next month.
Yes.
We'll pick a great book, and we'll put it online ahead of time so people know and
maybe
they can read.
Maybe we can legally sit next to each other.
Maybe you can't. Yes, exactly right. I wanted to give you a huge hug.
I know.
Next
time.
Hey, everybody, wear your masks. Donate to some great charity. And we're going to play the Rainbow Connection from that it was suggested by Wisconsin music director. I think that's a happy song. We got to connect, and the Rainbow Connection has it's all about difference. And Kermit the Frog sings it. It ain't easy being green or something, or it's easy being.
That's
green.
a different song.
Different song.
It ain't easy being green.
It ain't easy being green. It ain't easy being Bob. At any rate,
true.
That's true. See you next week, everybody, and get out there and donate to a charity. Be safe, and maybe see you at the drive-in movies. Go to the Boys and Girls Club website.
Call
and
them. Just give them a call today.
Give them a call. All righty.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me, all of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.